Hi, insiders. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back for yet another Insiders live stream hosted by your favorite marketing girly, Jazz Jackson. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a great live stream. I am known to yap over my allotted time, so I'm going to get into it. We're going to get right into it today. But this has been a topic that has been so requested by our insiders community. So it's one that I'm so excited to share more about, yap about. I can probably say, if not a couple times a week, at least once a week, I get a question either in my inboxes on my personal page or via the agency socials around questions about music rollout strategy, creative ideas on how artists specifically can connect to their fans' ideal audiences, especially as we navigate the social media, the digital landscape, as I yapped about during our last webinar, experiential event activations and ways that artists, creators, brands can bridge the gap with their community in real life. So super excited to connect and just yap all about it today. So you already know I have my agenda set and I cannot wait to get started. I also know that all the time, so many people are in different parts of their music release. I have my two dogs here, and one of their favorite things to do is be the main character, much like myself, and do things during my live streams. So if you hear them, y'all, um, give me grace, but I love them. So I got my agenda for today. We are going to be yapping, as I was alluding to, all things creative ideas for your next music release. So artist managers, if you are a creator working with artists behind the scenes, okay, to help get their music to new eyes, to new ears. This is going to be the live stream for y'all. So we are live today on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and on Instagram. So if you are joining us live from one of those platforms, hello, welcome. Little housekeeping here during the live streams, as we always do. If you have a question, comment, thought, use the comment sections on the platform that you are tuning in from. If you are joining us on LinkedIn or YouTube, oh, you're in luck. You're in luck, okay? We can actually pull your comments onto the screen. My goal is to make these as interactive as possible. So if you are here live, have a question, something to share, a thought about anything that I'm yapping about today, use those comment sections. For all of my friends on IG, I cannot pull your comments in, but please use the comment section on Instagram, IG Live. I'm checking and I will be yapping with y'all there, checking there for any questions, thoughts, comments that you have. On that note, if you are new here and have not seen me before, welcome. My name is Josh Jackson. I am the founder and CEO of Unearthly Studios. We're a creative, visual production, and talent management agency on a mission to empower artists, creatives, and visionary brands to achieve their full potential. We specialize in all things organic social, digital marketing, brand and creative strategy, experiential events, visual production, as I alluded to, along with talent management for an invite only roster. But I have worked with artists, creators, producers behind the scenes day to day on the management side. As a girly who loves marketing, I also intersect in the music biz. So I do wear quite a few different hats. Also, as a talent manager, A&R, music curator, I'm like, what else do I do? I'm a creative storyteller, creating content myself, and I love all things marketing, social, experiential. I have been within the marketing sphere of things for about 14 years now. I like to tell people I got my start on social during the blog era, Tumblr days, early Facebook marketing on IG, and I've seen the evolution of social over the past decade. I have been a part of it, working both as a freelancer on the brand side. I've worked on the agency side for a number of years, creating magic with some of the biggest brands in the world, including Puma, Hydro Flask, Microsoft, Samsung, Circle K. Those were some of my clients. I left, had to go to launch my own venture, which is Unearthly Studios. So we've been creating magic with artists, with creators, with brands and organizations over the past couple of years. And this live stream series honestly was brought to life based on the questions from our insiders community. We're always here to be a resource and a guide. We get a lot of feedback, a lot of questions. I am not an expert in everything, but in what I am not, we're going to be bringing in some special co-hosts, collaborators for future masterclass sessions, both virtually and as we launch some in-person experiences as we enter 2026. So, as I said, this is probably one of our most highly requested topics, just because I know we have so many artists that are within our insiders community, artists of all different levels, really artists that are in early development stages, some that are might be releasing their first singles or first projects for the first time, and then those more emergent artists who have been doing this thing for a while, got multiple releases under their belt, have started to find and hone in on their fan base and are, doing the right steps to build a sustainable career. And we also have a beautiful community of music executives, curators, industry professionals. So I love bringing these topics to life based on what y'all want to see the most. So please keep them coming. Now, to get into what I always call y'all the meat and potatoes of what I'm going to be yapping about today, to start us off, I thought it would be good to just talk about where this is my perspective. I feel the new release landscape currently is. Gonna spend just a few minutes here, okay? Because I got a lot to get to in an hour, and I'm timing myself. Because y'all know I'll be yapping. So I really wanted to talk about current social trends and shifts, right? We allude to this a lot. If you are tuned in, tapped in with us via our newsletter, via our socials, we amplify what's brewing in social and marketing, what's changing on these platforms, where is the attention going, where are audiences spending their attention on, right? Between all of these platforms. And one of the things that I know that I have noticed and that I have seen is around the pre-release culture, right? So we have seen with, I say, the TikTokification of social that has happened since, let's say, 2019, 2020. We're seeing a shift in how artists are building momentum with their audiences even prior to the release going live. So when strategically everything got a system and a framework and a roadmap on the Unearthly Studio side, we develop our campaigns with our artists and our clients in a few different phases. Pre-release, we call it release week, month/month, that first 30 days, and then we have post-release. So when we are thinking about how are we going to develop the strategy with any said artist, I'm speaking for artists specifically today, I'm trying to hone in. We are always thinking about each phase of the release, the story that we're telling, the creative that we're going to be amplifying between the phases, might be specific initiatives that might be going on, shows, etc. So it's all built out into these three phases. Knowing, right? And I talk about social all the time. I love social. Social is a great tool. It's a tool, y'all. It's not the end all be all. I think social is just where so many great things start and where the magic just begins. But because we're on social in 2025, entering 2026, right? When you think about I'll say the noise on social, that how many millions, billions, I don't even know the figure, it's definitely multi-millions pieces of content that is going live every 24 hours. when we're just inundated with scrolling and scrolling and scrolling creative. It is more than easy, and it happens for all of us to get kind of lost in the maze of so many things that are happening. Now, when we think about social media, there is definitely this transition as we are entering 2026 of and the way the platforms are shifting where social media, yes, I personally try to use social media to be social because that is how we build connections, community, conversation, and community. My 3 C's, y'all. Okay, take notes, take notes. But even with social, because of the way things are changing with the rise of AI recommendations, AI algorithms, AI this, AI that. We have SEO that these platforms are integrated now more than ever, right? I talked about hashtags a while ago. It's not the same, right? They're not being used for reach. But the way that your creative is also being found by your audience is through things like SEO. How discoverable are you on these platforms? How searchable are you? Findable? And it's changing. It's changing so rapidly, and I feel like every single time I do a live stream, I have to say, if you are not in social, living, breathing, like attending webinars, getting the newsletters, reading the newsletters, testing the strategies. If you're not in this full time, there is just no way possible you know what's going on, nor do you know the speed of evolution with these tools. It's every single day, other week, there's always a new update. So many that I'm full time in this, more than full time in this, I can't even keep up. So when we're thinking about how much social's changing, how much these platforms are changing, and then just how much creative is being amplified on these platforms, as an artist, speaking to y'all today, okay, you have to be super strategic in everything that you do. Now, strategy, okay, it is the core of everything. And I'm going to tell, I've been saying those who are going to win, you're going to see that they are strategic as fuck, they are intentional as fuck, and they got a plan. The plan might change a little bit, but there's a plan and there's a roadmap. Nothing you see happening with any of these music releases was done in 24 hours, 48 hours, a week, or a month, 2 months. It's the lead time of crafting your release and your campaign. It's not just oop, I dropped the music, that's it. It's what are you doing? As we said, we build out our campaigns with our clients and with our artists in phases, because pre-release, then you got release, and then you got post-release. So we're going to talk about a lot today, but when it comes to the noise on social, I always start with pre-release and what's really going on with, yes, y'all do need a longer lead time than you think. Most artists do. If you are coming on social, hi IG, I'm looking at y'all too. If you are coming on social day of, a week before, saying this Friday I'm dropping an EP, that is not enough. I see it though. The amount of time that I see that, more than y'all think. So this pre-release culture of how do you build momentum, how do you build buzz even before your music comes out is a big shift that we're seeing with artists across the board. It doesn't matter what size you are. There are the rare exceptions, and I'm not bringing them up today because most artists are not the rare exception, period. So the second shift in trend kind of that I have been seeing, and I talked about this, I have already talked about this, but I'm going to bring it up again, is on Instagram specifically. Now, we have reels. We have seen the short form creative that has been the preferred format on the platforms from the 2020 to the 2024. We had those good 4 years, y'all, where hey, you got to just post reels. You got to just amplify short form content. Yes, your creative mix of what you are amplifying on these core social platforms should be diverse, but carousels, they back and better than ever. I love carousels. So when it comes to visual storytelling, when I'm talking to artists and creators where being resourceful with budgets are at play, I talk about carousels all of the time, where most of y'all, most artists, most creators, you guys got a newer iPhone, an Android, a, um, a DSLR, shoot, a film camera, right? Use the tools and the platforms that you got, and remember that there's different formats for a reason. So one of the things that I have seen and that I have loved is artists that are really using carousels as a way to story tell and to even kind of like narrate an experience. So carousels back bigger, better than ever. If you're not using carousels, I would test them out. I would get started on that. And across the board, carousels can work on Instagram. TikTok got photos now; those take off, and those can perform really well. LinkedIn, all of these platforms, Facebook, right? There's a carousel element. Use them. Another thing that we're seeing in sorts of shifts, and I have been talking about this for years, but since most of y'all still ain't doing it, YouTube Shorts as a discovery engine. YouTube Shorts, YouTube Shorts. If you artists, as an artist, are not using YouTube strategically, leaning in on that platform, I think that is, if I could talk about YouTube all day, I would. I might have to do a full YouTube masterclass. Okay. So if y'all would like to see it, let me know. But YouTube Shorts as a discovery engine, I keep saying that organically, where TikTok was performing a few years ago, YouTube Shorts, it's still there. Now, in 2025, a lot of people have moved to YouTube from TikTok because of the, in the US at least, is it leaving? Was it staying? It's getting sold, so it's gonna stay. It's looking like, right? But it's been kind of up in the air for a while. So a lot of attention has gravitated to the Shorts platform on the creator side. But guess what? It's never too late. And if you haven't done it yet, the next best time is right after we get off of here. But stay tuned because you got to keep watching. But use YouTube Shorts as a discovery engine. Also, too, being able to use it to drive pre saves can be a lot more efficient than trying to do that via social posts. The next thing that I've also noticed is behind the scenes fatigue. So this is all around shifting from fans don't just want to see the studio content, the BTS in the studio. Yes, capture it. Yeah, I always say document over creating, get all the footage. But then thinking about how can you strategically use that footage to drive and hone in on a specific concept or to tell a more unique story. So I'm gonna hone in on that a little bit more. The last one that I have seen though in 2025, obviously, when it comes to creative, I cannot be the strategist that does not mention AI in all of this. And I'm not talking about AI artists. That is not what I'm on today. I'm talking about AI generated creative in terms of visualizers, in terms of even helping you craft social posts, things like that. Um, because it's not going anywhere. And I was having this in-depth conversation about AI with someone quite recently on my perspective on it. It's not going anywhere. Whether you're an artist, a creator using the tools, we are already seeing how AI is already integrated into our lives. And this is on such a small level, in such the early stages of this technology, that 5, 10 years from now, I just don't know. But what I'm saying is everything is a tool. It's all a tool and a resource. And there are ways that artists can use AI features on some of these platforms for y'all's benefit, especially when it comes to budgets. But a key stat I would like to share is, and I know this to be true, coming from my community of artists, I talk to y'all all the time. I follow thousands of artists. I am tuned in and tapped in to so many releases. I curate so I know when artists are releasing. I can say, like, that artists that are engaging with their fans, interacting, really working that pre-release phase of their campaign, a month out, 2 months out from release, tend to see 2 to 3 times higher engagement during the first week, first month, leading into everything they do after. I already said that given where we are, this is the attention economy, this is the interest media economy that we're in. You can't just show up a week before, like even 2 weeks before, and think that that's going to be enough to keep, right, the intention on you. You have to strategically plan out your releases. I don't care if you're releasing a single, doesn't matter if it's an EP, a full project, a 3-pack, a mixtape. The strategy does matter here. And a lot of the time, there is no strategy for so many artists, or it's just piecemealed. It's not really together. So they might come strong with like 1 week of pre-release, and then they're quiet because they're like, oh, I don't have enough stuff to post. I didn't map that out. This is why we're strategically thinking about everything we do, because the goal is to, by time my artists, our clients release that project, release whatever is going out, the goal is to know that everything is ready, where we can just press go, press post, get things scheduled, because we already built the strategy months in advance. Then we produced all the creative, if not all of it, a lot of it, to get us started for the release and the amplification phase. By the time we have folders of content, of videos, of footage, of BTS organized, because this is exactly where it's like, even get into release week, it's like, okay, release week, I released the lyric video and maybe a visualizer. Now what do I do? This is why we build out the strategy in advance, okay? But artists, use these tools to your benefit, okay? And have a game plan of attack. And this leads me into a beautiful segue into the timeline of things, because that is the second question that I get all of the time, is around, okay, what does a strategic release timeline, what could it look like? I have an example I'm going to share, a breakdown. This is an example because it's going to look different for every artist, every team, every label. Like, there's a lot of different moving pieces. But as a creative strategist who has built campaigns, some of our campaigns had 6 months lead, a year out, we're building a campaign for, right? Everything is done in advance, and it has to be. If the goal is to build your fan base, to cultivate sustainable success, to secure the line opportunities, XYZ, there is nothing that's going to happen without having a timeline of some sort in place. I am checking on IG. Hello, hello, y'all. Welcome. If you have any questions, okay, use the comment sections on the platform that you're viewing from. LinkedIn, YouTube, I can pull y'all right in to the space and put y'all on the screen. Say hi. YouTube. Um, I see some stuff. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go over there in a second and pull some of y'all up. But yeah, IG, use the comment section on IG, not the Q&A box if it's there, because I can't see that. So yeah, comment section. I love y'all. But moving into, see, I'll be getting off on tangents. Wait until I get me a moderator. Just wait, just wait. The 4-month framework breakdown. Okay, so I'm gonna do this from a 4-month timeline because it just makes sense in my head. You can do 3 months. I mean, you can even do 2 months, but obviously, the more lead time that you give yourself, the better. Because, right, artists, y'all already know there's a lot that has to happen to get that release ready to go live into the world on all sorts of things. So when we think about working backwards, I always say give yourself more time than not. At minimum, I mean, for a single, I've seen 4 to 8 weeks. For EP, LP, I've seen that extended even longer. Of when honestly should you start planning for this? I always say as soon as possible and with as much of a timeline as possible. If you are going to release an EP, right, and you're like, okay, Jazz, I want to release an EP 8 weeks from now, but then I asked the follow up questions. Okay, like is the project this, what is the EP finalized? Do you have all like final versions, mixed, mastered? I'm talking done. Don't talk to me. Oh, it's rough. Okay, no, then no. 8 weeks is not going to work for you. If you have no idea of the strategy in terms of EP, right? Like themes, narratives of the project, some ideas that you've already start brewing, like brewing on. Have you started to capture any of the photography, whether it's new branded headshots, whether it's cover art for the album, if that needs that? These are all questions of like, how much time do I need to plan? As I said, it's going to be different. But when I think about breaking it down into like a 4 month time frame, I'm thinking month one. This is concept. This is the start of like content creation. This is going back to where, okay, you might have gotten some stuff recorded. You might have gotten a couple masters back. You're in your timeline. But this is also where you want to start really thinking about the themes, the narratives, the visual identity of for the single, for the EP, for the album. This is done months in advance. Artists, most y'all know this, but a lot of y'all still try to rush this process, and great things can not be rushed. Great things do truly take time and strategy. This is also when, if you can, when you have your finalized mixes, tracks, this is when also getting started on creating some of that content. This could look like, if you're super early into the process, I'm sure you're still doing things, whether that's it could be like, hey, I'm going to shoot my like music visualizers for all of the EP tracks. Boom, perfect. Capture all the footage that you need, make sure in your budget, or get a friend, okay, barter some services, can capture some BTS for you. Hey, I'm doing rehearsals. I'm going to actually go record a couple more final takes. Cool. Capture that too. Get a friend, capture, document, get all of that. Because the whole point of this is by time we get down to month 4 of releasing this, you should have all of this footage. You should have stuff that's able to be edited into different sort of content formats and content pieces. You It should be so easy for you to craft this short form visualizer content in advance and have like, okay, I know I have at least a solid 10, 15 to start with, and or I know that, okay, I'm going to be shooting more stuff over the next couple of months. The goal is that it's so crazy, but it happens so much where I will ask artists, oh, did you capture any, behind the scenes? Did you document any of this process? The answer is no. In 2025, I am not understanding why that answer is no when most of y'all got a newer iPhone than me. A tripod is 30 bucks. If we don't want to support Amazon, get it somewhere else, okay? And set that phone up. You better capture something, because we're not going to use the whole I don't have a budget, I don't have the resource. No, no. It doesn't matter what level you're at. We're seeing artists across they all got some iPhone content going on. They sure do. So what I'm saying is be strategic. You're already doing all of these steps. You're already doing all of this process. Capture it, document it. And this is stuff that, zero, probably close to $0 if you're using your phone. And you better use your iPhones. You got 4K on them. And these new iPhones, 16, 17, y'all, no excuses, no excuses. So, as I said, how early should you start planning? Minimum, I would say 6 to 8 weeks for a single. You know, that's generous, like that's a good lead time. especially depending on where you are in your process of what else you got to get done on your checklist. Okay. But obviously, 12 to 16 weeks, I would say, for EP albums is probably about right. And then month two, this is when let's start building and teasing. Yes, this can be done on shorter timelines for singles, right? Can get condensed, but I'm framing it out like you're gonna release EPLP. Okay. So this is when you're gonna tease and build an anticipation. The artists that I feel like are doing it right, doing it well, we tend to know they're gonna be dropping a larger body of work at some point in time. So whether that is they have been releasing, single by single for a little bit, that's going to lead up to what's on the EP project. This is where you can start sharing those more kind of that context storytelling, okay, where maybe you're amplifying BTS of you in the studio. Maybe you're sharing a sneak peek from a visualizer you shot. Maybe you're not sharing the music just yet, but you're teasing what's going to be coming next. Then a few weeks later, this could look like doing things like sharing that snippet of releasing what you're going to be coming next. Artists are doing this in so many different formats. Now, obviously, we see the social posts where it might be carousel. Once again, I talked about carousels a little bit earlier in the conversation today, where they'll have a few photos of like a BTS or maybe a live performance. I don't know, it could look differently, or just maybe some moments in their life. And then they'll be like swipe to the end for XYZ. And then that last part of the carousel will be a snippet reveal. I have seen people do snippet reveals via their Discord channels, via IG broadcast channels. I've seen a lot of artists share more of their snippets in there to tease and build anticipations with their most engaged audiences in those spaces. This is where too, obviously, you'll start launching your pre-link or pre-save stuff like that, depending on where you're at in that process of having everything ready to go. A lot of times too, I see with the whole pre-save campaign, it's the timeline is so short on so many of these. Now, I understand if you're releasing a single by single, like a weekly single by single strategy, cool. You're gonna have to like have those things like right. It's not gonna be as long of a lead time, but depending on your strategy, yeah, you can definitely start launching those pre-save links earlier in your timeline versus shorter and make a bigger campaign moment out of it, and give yourself more lead time to generate those. I do see a lot of short lead times, but I have seen it done really well where an artist has that pre-save link available for well over a month or more, and they're amplifying it in so many different spaces. So can strategically use those. And then a question that I do get often is around if you don't have, like, what do you do if you don't have a big following? Now, we do know in 2025, a follower count honestly does not matter. I talked about this. I feel it could have been, I don't know. I don't know, one of our earlier live streams. I'm not too sure which one it was now, but I was talking about this about, and I just alluded to this earlier, attention and interest, attention and interest. So you could literally, even if you have let's say you have 600 followers on your account for your music account on Instagram, you could create a visualizer that has all the check boxes, which we would do on the agency side, that is in alignment with the theme, the narrative, the mood, the experience, all those questions, right? And this piece of creative could be so fucking good, it takes off. It takes off because follower count does not matter. The main thing that matters, and honestly, the more important thing that matters, is the relevance of the content. Is it interesting? Is it entertaining? Is it adding some sort of perceived value to the audiences you want to reach? Period. You could be an artist who loves cooking, post a cooking video of your Sunday brunch, put your music behind it, and it could take off. I'm just saying. I've seen it happen. So your following size don't matter, but what will matter is showing up, having a strategy in place, and when it comes to your releases, having a plan that you're ready and able to execute on. That is really what's going to move the needle in such a dynamic way. And I have some examples for y'all. But that next month, it could be like for month 3. This is when we're focused on the pre-release. So this is what I would call the pre-release phase. This is when we see artists start getting really active. Okay, now this is where we're seeing the official announcement with artwork. We're seeing the behind the meaning content, not just the studio footage, but they might start seeding some Easter eggs for us. This is when, as artists, you, your team, your publicist, if you're at that phase in your journey, playlist pitching would begin, press outreach. You'll start to see influencer partnerships, like UGC stuff start to go live, creator partnerships come to life. And this is all part of more equals more. The whole goal is to be using this pre release push to build upon the momentum. Now, if we're thinking about the case of like this is an EP release, typically you would gonna have your 1 to 2 focus singles that have already gone live, right? And this is a cycle that you kind of keep going in over and over and over and over, and we get better at it, okay? And we get more fucking strategic with it and resourceful and creative. But this is when you're gonna see all that magic really start to happen. Now, something that a little extra gem I want to sprinkle in this is how it's making it more like interactive. We're seeing artists that are using polls like via stories or even doing a poll on an Instagram post with, hey, vote on the next single, XYZ, for example. I know Russ did this really well within his own closed community space, and he has done it about single releases, about where should he go on tour next, example. Um, but we've seen this kind of across the board of there are so many interactive ways that you can even use these platforms, these tools to make your fans contributors and part of the process and part of the experience right along with you. So month four, this is like release day month/month. Okay, this is about release and momentum. This is so freaking important, and this is why having creative that is done, edited, ready to be scheduled, ready to go live is crucial. By time you get to release day, release month, there are certain assets that you should have. Just if it ain't done and ready to be scheduled, you better be getting that final edit back. Like, this is why we're so on our artists and clients about we want things done, ready to be delivered, ready to be uploaded, ready to go. I have also seen, unfortunately, not just not artists necessarily that I've worked with, but artists within my community where they've had like project releases really get derailed for moving pieces beyond their control. So when it comes to how we work with clients, we want to keep as much of what we can in our control as possible. And the best way to do that is to make sure that, hey, we're getting everything done. This is why we work with our clients and our artists on timelines. And no, it has to be done. And if it's not done, then we might need to go talk to a few people of when we're gonna have this done. Because wanting to drop a lyric video or your visualizer and you're still waiting on your final edit back from the videographer team, XYZ, things like that. So it happens, or hey, you're still waiting on a final master to be delivered so you can get it re-uploaded. All these things happen all the time. So you want to just be as ready as possible. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. But when we're thinking about like release and momentum, this is about release day content. Obviously, y'all gonna post. It might be a visualizer. It could be a piece from like a short form visualizer. It could just be other content that you have ready to go that you're going to share for release day, announcing the project that it's out now, etc. And then we'll see it often. And I think this is so smart. We always know what's going to be going live. And we use calendar templates with our clients. And hey, things can move and shift, but we should have an idea of what this first 30 days is going to like briefly look like. And there's going to be a whole diverse range of creative assets, formats that are going to go live because we built a strategy around it. So, week one, this could look like releasing a lyric video. We see that often. As artists, every look, I understand budgets. I am the queen of understanding, being resourceful and scrappy. You can use Canva for this. I'm just saying. Um, but a lyric video for every track. You know why? Because fans of music want to learn the lyrics. And then also too, this is where my artist manager hat and making sure your stuff is up on Music Match, Genius, that we can go and when I go on the DSP, I can read the lyrics. All these things matter, but I'm talking about lyric videos. Week one, example, it could be a lyric video. Or I see a lot of artists where they'll release the full music video or visualizer 24, 48 hours, but somewhere in that week one time frame. This is why, because they want to build upon the momentum, and we are visual creatures. We want to see things. So this is why all that stuff is done in advance, and it's already they already got it scheduled. By the time they announced that it's gonna come out Thursday, baby, like they didn't just be like, oh no, no, stay ready so you don't gotta get ready is the motto. Okay. This can look like reaction content. So I love this. I love this. And this is also where we talked about earlier about influencer creator partnerships, UGC, user generated content, all can go into play into your release strategy. And it should. No matter what stage you're at in your journey, in your career, there is a way. There is a way to do it. But we're seeing the reaction content where artists obviously send your track to music tastemakers, curators, lovers, and it doesn't they don't even need to have a strong like social following. They don't need to be a big creator. It could be your friends, your family, your mama, your daddy. Look, anybody. I've seen it all and it all works. But have them share the reaction. I've seen where someone will be in a car with their mom or their friend and they just capture that first listening experience. I've seen it done all sorts of way. That could be something that you share. Fan UGC features. This is where you see things like challenges, dance challenges, depending on your audience and your fan base, you're going to know them well of what will get them to engage, interact. I've seen artists that just amplify live performance footage from their shows and capture fan interactions, fan POVs, all stuff like that that amplify like moments. Week 2 to 4, this is still in the first month. You'll also start to see performance videos, live performance videos, artists will release remixes sometimes within that first month, alternative versions. And then obviously, when I think about beyond the first 30 days, this is where you're going to keep seeing, hey, an artist is going on tour. This is why artists will, and teams will, obviously, if you're going to release an EP, LP, a project, and your fan base, you're in that journey where a tour supports it, or even headlining your own unique fan experience, et cetera, that you put together yourself, this is where it would happen. Because at the end of the day, this is all about releasing and then momentum. How are we going to keep, right, attention and interest beyond the first initial week, month, kind of that initial buzz period? And yeah, there's a lot more ideas that I could share in that. So many ideas that we have done on the agency side. And obviously, if you are interested in working with our agency as a client, you can hit us up on the web or on socials to get started, learn more about us, how we can really help you elevate, because everything that we do on the agency side, it's unique It's personalized. It is so freaking crafted to who you are as an artist. Or we also work with creators, DJs, photographers, etc., and brands. It is so tailored to you that while I could have a bunch of generic kind of like broad ideas that can work for everyone, what I find most fascinating as a creative strategist is being able to get so nitty gritty into really like, oh, your audience loves this. This is what they're interested in. Oh, this would work really well for them. Or, oh, you said that these are core values that are important for you. And this is part of the story that you really want to hone in on. Here's some ways we can do that. Whew, I'm just saying. I love this stuff. I love it so much, y'all. But I gotta keep moving through my agenda. So that is kind of just like a framework. I did 4 months. If you're releasing a single, this, as I said, it could be condensed into like a 6 to 8 week timeline. And then you just have to think about, okay, what do I have to condense and fit into this to prep for a single? But yes, if you have any questions about timelines, release timelines, we're going to have something special brewing for y'all that we're going to share as a freebie very soon to help y'all with that. But I wanted to move on into some specific ideas that can work for some of the different core social platforms. Now we got the big like seven, right? In my head, it might be 7, 8. I don't know, but we got your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikTok, your Twitter X, your Threads, your Snapchat, your LinkedIn. Is that 7 or 8? Those are like the big core platforms. Now, as an artist specifically, you might not be really hanging out on LinkedIn, but if you have manager or a team or a label, I'm sure they are. Okay, so I don't want to discount those platforms, but obviously thinking about where music lovers, music enthusiasts, not saying that obviously I'm on LinkedIn and I'm a music enthusiast, but where y'all are most likely going to focus is going to be the ones that I'm talking about. So maybe LinkedIn might not be it for you, but hey, your team, if they're on LinkedIn yapping it up with other folks in the music biz, they might want to amplify some of the stuff you're doing. I'm just saying. Okay, so going into some campaign ideas. So y'all cannot say I don't give gems. No one can say Jazz don't just be dropping gems on y'all heads because there's definitely like 8 hours on our YouTube. So let's go into these because I am keeping track of time today, y'all. Yeah. The real ones who have been rocking with me would know. They would be so proud of me. Jazz on time. So let's talk about some platform specific strategies. So I want to talk about TikTok first. As a creative strategist, I feel like TikTok has been the bane of my fucking existence about should my artists be on it? Should clients be on it? What the F is going on with TikTok? And this is just all 2025, right? Since they took it for a day and then was like, oh yeah, we just wanted to see how y'all was gonna act. But anyway, TikTok looking like it's gonna stay for a while. So on TikTok, I still feel like it is a great platform for organic discovery. I still think it's a great platform for that. So much can happen, like on all these platforms. But I would say overall, it's such a great platform for discoverability. Obviously, for most artists, your target audiences are on that platform in those different spaces. I love TikTok about it is the niche side of it. There is a space and an interest for everything, and we're seeing how that's playing out on even threads introducing community topics. It's all around interest. So this is why I said, as artists, being so authentically yourself matters in this process, not just for the single, the EP, the LP you're releasing right now and what we're trying to do, but I'm talking about how are you connecting with the ideal audiences that you want to reach? Who are your ideal fans and how are you going to reach them? Which is why we already did a branding strategy webinar on YouTube and LinkedIn. Go check that out. But this matters because all the good creative ideas that you're going to bring to life is going to flow. But some things that work really well on TikTok are things, and we've seen it, right, over years. Creating a signature sound, a hook challenge where artists right? You'll have a specific part of the song that you feature within that challenge. This could be as a dance, it could be as like a mood or POV challenge that your fans and then other people interpret for themselves, etc. Um, this also looks like we already talked about in the case of the reaction content, partnering with a few micro creators within your genre. This is so easy on TikTok. Literally, you can just look up curators of all sizes, right? But partner with a few what we consider micro would be like under, I don't know, I think a micro is under like 50K, but I don't know what they saying these days on the influencer side of things, but around that. But like that micro side, you can even partner with and what we would say nano, those creators that are really, really engaged with their friends, their families, their close circle groups, where their engagement is still going to be higher. So, and you can probably do a lot of this with a very, very cost effective budget. Or if you're tapping potentially even fans, you know, you could do something special for them. This could look like a lyric explanation series where you literally break down specific lyrics, parts of the song, parts of the track, make your own series. We've seen things that work really well that I love to personally watch. Okay. And this what I'm saying goes back to documenting over creating. Let's take that pressure off and just document what you already doing as an artist. Period. So if you're going on tour, you should be documenting that tour. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. If you have a show, you should be documenting that day in the life. Turn it into a series of some sort. Um, I love Kiana Lede for a specific example of this, where I haven't been able to get to a show in a long time, but I feel like I'm there because if you go to Kiana Lede's YouTube channel, she has a recap video for about every tour stop or like a show or a bigger appearance. That's the way to do it. As an artist that maybe doesn't have the big, like the team, this could still look like you capture iPhone footage where you capture moments from each stop on the tour, you clip it together. If it's short form, share a minute on IG and then go tell them to go watch the full video on YouTube or TikTok, whatever, IG, TikTok. And then duet friendly content. We see this a lot with open verses for artists specifically. I feel we've seen some really cool ones going around more recently. Would be Kaylani's Folded that has been taken over. And it's been so cool as someone who loves artists to see some of my favorite artists doing their own unique renditions, unique take on what is freaking phenomenal track. Okay, okay. And honestly, this is when it comes back to building community as an artist. If you're in community building with other artists, you can start your own open verse. Yes, of course, we're going to see when an artist has more momentum, more established, when they launch those, more people participate. But I truly believe you got to just go first. There are ways that you can do unique things. Or also, too, as an artist, hop on someone else's open verse where you can strategically, okay, slide right in there, okay, where it makes sense. Not every open verse is going to make sense, okay, y'all, but why not, right? So that's just for TikTok specifically because I could go on. Instagram, IG. I love IG. I'm an IG girl. Y'all not gonna get me away from Instagram probably ever. I say that, but you never know. But it's still one of my favorite platforms. I feel too with the shifts of the IG platform. There's a lot of shifts on the IG platform. Some people love, some people really don't love with how many changes they're making on Instagram that no one asked for, that we don't need, but okay. Just show us, just show our content to who follows us. And they're like, no, thank you. Um, but what artists can do to really connect with your fans and your audiences on IG specifically, I feel like IG is the strongest platform with engagement features YouTube too, but we're going to talk about YouTube. Countdown stickers, polls, and question prompts in your stories. I I be in the stories and the DMs for a lot of artists, and I it's not like I take notes, but I'm very observant and I do note patterns. And there's high opportunity for so many more of y'all to strategically utilize these tools, these resources, and these features at your disposal. And if you're an artist manager working with artists, if you an indie label that got artists, okay, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to y'all too. And if your marketing strategist ain't telling you to use them, get you a new one. You know where to find us. Um, Countdown stickers, polls, and question prompts and stories. Okay, use them. Use them a lot. I'm not saying you got to be like every other story frame, but a few times a week, once a week, yeah, you should be using something. Also, too, yeah, I did put broadcast channels. Broadcast channels. I talked about these during our community building webinar earlier, but broadcast channels, if you have the ability currently, I need you to go after you're done getting all these great gems from me. I need you to go and check on your IG if you have not already and do not have a broadcast channel. See if you are able to create one. And then I want you to start one by tomorrow. Okay? Get that started, because when I keep telling y'all, the ones who win are the ones who are adaptable and move fast and are early adopters of the tools and technology. We're going to win. We are going to be the winners here. I want y'all to win right alongside me. So I'm saying this about broadcast channels because I'm going to promise y'all in 2026, more and more, like a lot of people have access to them, but millions of people don't yet. As broadcast channels get rolled out, I'm seeing every day people are getting access. More and more fans who may have easily opted in are not so easily going to opt in, because broadcast channels are tied to IGDMs. I'm in dozens for research purposes. Gotta stay on it. I'm in dozens of broadcast channels. I'm inundated. I'm flooded. Plus personal DMs. Like, it is crazy, right? You can mute them. You can mute them. But what I'm saying is fans aren't going to be just opting into everything for hundreds of artists. They are going to pick and choose the broadcast channels that they want to opt into based on that connection that they have with that artist. So, if you do have the ability to launch a broadcast channel, I would say do it. And then I would say to actually use it, and use it not just for yourself to promo this and do that. Use it to talk, use it to engage. You can add a poll, you can add a question, you can go live in broadcast channels. So if you have 100, 200, 500, 1,000 people in your broadcast channel, you can go live just for them. Do something special. If you're an artist, bring in a guest collaborator or a producer, do a Q&A with other people that are featured. I'm giving y'all all the gems. Y'all just got to do it. Y'all just got to actually do it. I'm saying it's about who can execute. So you can share snippets in there. You can drop a little link to a SoundCloud or Untitled and share, hey, here's what I'm working on or what's coming next. What else? You can share some BTS photos from your upcoming music video you're about to release. I just gave y'all like 10 ideas. Um, yeah, go do those. Go do those. But I love broadcast channels. What I'm saying is I love broadcast channels, but I'm also saying that if you don't get on this, yeah, I think it's going to be harder for you to reach your people as we enter 2026. What was next on my list? YouTube. YouTube. Some ideas for YouTube: premiere events, not just uploads, making the event a premiere. So when you upload it, you got an option. Usually, you check the box. So do it as a premiere, and then put it at a time where you, the artist, your manager, your team, if a couple collaborators, maybe you got a feature on the visual or XYZ, where they can attend and announce that as an event to your fans. That's what's missing. because people do premieres and they're like, oh yeah, it's coming out at 12. That's great. That's great. People are gonna watch it, but I'm saying you can make a bigger moment of the like on the platform, especially with YouTube. Because once again, when I think about my 3 C's I keep telling y'all about, okay, we're gonna do a pop quiz. Like I'm gonna have a pop quiz at the end. But we're thinking about, right? Conversation, connection, community. Conversation, connection, community. Like I might have to get me a rapper to make me some sort of tagline song, okay? But no, I'm so serious about this. Make it a moment. I know I'm funny, but I'm so serious at the same time. I've been joking, but also not joking. Um, yeah, premiere events. Please do it. Please try it. If you have not tried it, it is free. It is free. I'm the queen of, I'm trying to teach y'all how to use these tools, these platforms, and then all the features on the platforms because they all got their strengths and their not, strengths, strong suits, etc. But when it comes to YouTube, I still feel like YouTube is such an underutilized, high value, high opportunity for every artist, and a lot of artists of all sizes are there's still so much y'all can do on YouTube. But every artist can start with premiere events. Every artist can be available when that video is going live to be able to yap it up in the comments with whoever can join live and being strategic about making it a moment, announcing it in your captions. When you're saying it's going to come out on Thursday, say, hey, I'm going to be, set your notification on YouTube. I'm going to be chatting with fans in the comments. Easy, easy, and free. Free. Since we're talking about being resourceful and budgets, and a lot of artists, we go back to the budget conversation and being able to be strategic with what you got, use these tools. But you got to know how to use them, right? So that's what I'm here for. And then we already talked about YouTube Shorts, right? But Shorts drive to your long content pipeline. They drive to the full music video. The snippet of the tour diaries drives to the longer form video. Examples. Um, a 30-second clip from the live performance can go to the full recap or set. Use shorts strategically. Most, I don't want to speak on all the third party scheduling platforms, but because I know when you pay for the good ones, you can do this. But posting directly in the platform, it's going to ask you, is this tagged to related content? Tag it. There are so many times that I go on YouTube shorts for artists, and then it's like a visualizer clip, or it's like you can tell it's from the full video, and it doesn't drive to anything because they didn't link it. You got to actually link it on the platform, and some of these scheduling tools you can, others you can't. Just saying, drive it from shorts to long form. That is the way it should work. That's also why I'm saying use YouTube Shorts. If it's not within your creative strategy, let's diversify it as we enter 2026 and put YouTube into it. Especially as an artist, there ain't no reason you got a YouTube channel anyway. And if you don't got a YouTube channel, then we got some work to do. We got some work to do. And then another idea for YouTube is making of mini doc series. I freaking love this. I'm a true creative at heart, y'all. Little fun fact: I went to college for film production. It's I get back to storytelling so much. I call myself a creative storyteller because, like, we're people. We love stories, music, stories. Still story. It's still an experience. Still moment. TV shows, 30 minutes to an hour. Movies, 2 hours. So when people are talking about how people don't have attention to watch something that's long form, that's bullshit. It's bullshit because if you look at like what we consume, YouTube, YouTube is a platform, one of the biggest platforms for music discovery, because when you go on YouTube to listen to music, to watch your music video, a live performance, it is more active viewership versus if I'm on TikTok scrolling and I swipe past your video, for example. We love stories. There's high opportunity for probably every artist, team, label to really go back to storytelling for all of y'all releases. And so much of the making of stuff, this is what I'm talking about, that you can't just do this after. This is not an after thing. This is months in advance of strategy of planning of, hey, I know this is project, it's coming out. It's why you can see who else. Dang, I think it was Hillary Duff. Anyway, Hillary's coming back to music. It might not have been her though. So anyway, but Hillary is like one of my examples of like, yo, wait until she comes back with her comeback doc. I'm just saying, yo. But that's why you can see like with artists, they'll produce like a documentary or they'll put something on YouTube where it's showing like a year ago of footage. Why? Because they were capturing this content at the same time. It's like, we just gonna put the camera up, we're gonna use this footage somehow. But you can't do that in retrospect, in hindsight. Like, it has to be done when you're in the process as an artist. That's what I'm saying. Like, literally, get a tripod, a camera. If you don't got a budget for a videographer, it don't even matter. You got your phone. Capture some of these moments because you never know how you can use them in the future, but you can't use any of it if you don't document it. Moving on to Spotify because I'm wrapping this up. So for Spotify specifically, some things a lot of artists know, but there's storytelling, there are still magic and moments to happen even with the canvases that you create for your release. There are so many great ways to strategically use those and use that as a place of storytelling, of connection. I have seen artists who do this really well where they use their canvas on the single and they'll actually see little Easter eggs. um, I think that can work really cool. Another one is, obviously, we're talking about releases. Um, Personalized playlist pitching strategy comes into this as well too. This is why everything happens on a timeline, making sure stuff is uploaded, all of that nitty gritty stuff I'm not getting into today. But also, Spotify is continually to roll out specific marketing tools, whether it is like the Spotify Marquee, Showcase, these different forms and facets where you are able to optimize those releases as they go live. So Spotify artists, everyone, y'all should be continuing to tap in, follow the Spotify for Artists account, take a look at what they rolling out as you the artist. And I'm speaking from wearing my talent manager hat right now. It is not your manager's job to know all this for you. It it is no, it is not. It is not. It is not. Look, y'all gotta know. You gotta know. You gotta be informed. You might not know about everything about social, what's happening, but these streaming platforms, these tools are evolving at just the same pace. So you and your team, if you have a team and you are the team, a lot of the times at first, right? You got to know what's happening and what tools you can utilize when you're ready for them, depending on where you are in your journey. Okay, because it doesn't always make sense to go like, okay, and then too, you got to get access to these features and not everyone gets them right away. So, um, merging platforms, Discord and Patreon. I talk about these and yapped about them during community building webinar. Go back, watch that. We also talked about things like events, early access tiers, stuff like that that can work in our event activation one that we did. So these are on YouTube because I can't get into them in the nitty gritty here. But Discord and Patreon, especially for artists, are platforms of very high opportunity, especially after you've been doing these things that we just talked about this whole hour. If you have a broadcast channel, for example, if you know, okay, in your broadcast channel, you have a few hundred people that are in there, that is a signal of at least a good amount of core engaged fans, supporters, those that are interested, customers, depending, right? They want to stay tuned in, they want to stay tapped in. Being able to then hone that channel, nurture that space, get really good at one platform, that platform that you're on, you can then see that into, okay, now I'm launching my Discord, like my free Discord. I'm going to offer XYZ in my Discord, and this is what we're going to use it for, right? And then you can either stay on Discord, knowing that a lot of music enthusiasts, fans, lovers utilize Discord as a platform, Or you might decide, hey, I want to launch a paid Patreon in the future. These are all emerging tools, platform, technology. I feel there's so many more that I could name, but for the sake of time, I won't. But if you have specific questions about other platforms of interest, hey Jazz, have you heard about or tried this one? Send us a DM. I'm always trying to test out tools, platforms, new technology, whether it's like an Even, there's Grouped, there's Laylo, there's Community. There are so, and there are gonna be more. There's gonna be more popping up, y'all. I'm just saying. There's gonna be more platforms, more tools. Whew, it's gonna be a lot. But I still think for every artist, to wrap this up, use the tools that you have at your disposal. And also, it really does come back to, is there a strategy that you are a strategy and a plan, vision, strategy, plan, right? Because I talked about vision stuff. We got to have a vision. But is there a plan that you are able to execute on during all the phases of your release? I gave y'all a lot of ideas for every platform. And the final thing that I wanted to land on to wrap this up, and I got ideas for years, y'all. So if you want to work with us on the agency side, reach out to us. You can find us on the web. I'm going to put the QR code right here on the screen so you can check that out and visit us on the web. You can learn more about myself, my agency, the work that we do, some of the clients we've worked with, past, present, etc., on our website. But the last thing that I wanted to wrap up with this is just a couple of rollouts that I've seen. Okay. One example from one of my favorite artists, and then one from a uni client example, as a nice case study, okay, from the work that we did with one of our clients, Mark. So I mean, I could give ideas for years on ways you can amplify your music releases. We just did an hour of a lot that any artist, any team, any label, y'all could put into practice, okay? But there is one artist, Oblay Reed, who he's been one of my faves, I want to say going on at least 2-3 years. And I feel being a creative strategist that works with artists, but also being a talent manager, A&R, I just have my ear to the ground on, that's great. Everyone who's doing their thing, more quote unquote mainstream now. I love it. I love it for you. Congrats. I am so in the trenches of, I want to know who we gonna be talking about in the next 10 years of great artist development takes time, artists, timeless music artists. And my track record for success. Okay. I ain't missed yet. I haven't missed yet. But it's like some artists just really got it. They got it. Their team got it. They just doing all the right things. And I was gonna see if I could share my screen actually, if this will pop up. But he recently put out a project called Line Leaders, and I think this was June. So June was, yeah, a few months ago. So it was a summer release. And let me tell you, I have not, this project came out in like June, and I still have not stopped listening to it. So that's, when I'm talking about timeless music, timeless music. Hold on, let me share this screen. Doo-doo-doo-doo. This is why I'm gonna get me a moderator, y'all. Okay, so I was like, so classes in session. I'm sharing my screen for the last couple minutes. Okay, so Oblay put out Line Leaders in June. I'm obsessed with this project, as I mentioned. Ain't stopped listening to it. All the features just stacked. I wanted to bring this one up specifically because of what I would say are the collaborations and features. So Line Leaders is the stacked lineup roster of all of the collaborators that are featured on this project. Obviously, Oblay is someone I have seen who consistently goes hard for his community, for the community. even too, I also put on this list why I wanted to amplify him is because of that community aspect. This whole project is based on amplifying hip hop, R&B, the emerging underground community. Many of these artists I listen to, many of them I have said they got it. They in that next 5 year lineup, and the timeline is pretty much being on 5 to 7 year lineup. It's pretty much on par from what I've seen because I've been tapped in with a lot of them for many years. So I've got to see their journey. But he compiled the line leaders. And something that was really cool about this is, let me see if it'll let me click through it. So he featured the different artists on the project. He also made this a big moment where he featured all of the producers. Everyone had their spot on here. You know, he's talking about how it takes a village and how he built this with obviously the community, the visuals, naming the team, shouting everyone out. And then going down, he moving into crafting the how does he bridge the digital to IRL. He did Oblay and Reed's lineup. He had a few different cities from what I remember this post. So yeah, he had a few different cities where he did Oblate Read and Friends in New York, LA, Seattle. Once again, getting the community together. These were able to be free shows, so he obviously taken away that barrier to entry for fans and supporters who might want to see him. But once again, when it comes to amplifying your release beyond the first 30 days, this is the type of stuff that I'm talking about. Now, he has built up because I have watched him over the past couple of years, building up via social, building up via TikTok, amplifying the music visualizers. I'm talking about he is an example of someone who's doing it right and being strategic about it. And you could tell as a marketing girly, I could tell. And he has a really great team around him. So proud of Oblay. So he did Oblay and Friends in all of these different cities. He got everyone together. When he did the line leaders announcement, he broke it down into kind of like this fun game of like a bingo card and unveiled one by one who the next line leader was going to be that was going to be featured on the lineup. So it's like gamifying it. It's getting fans involved. It's building buzz, building momentum. Another thing he did really well, because I'm like so tapped into this freaking rollout, is he had visualizers with quite a few of the different line leaders that were featured on the project. So he had 18 artists on the project. I know he did visuals with a few of them, and obviously dropped those visuals one by one. Um, and go to his YouTube. Y'all can watch all this stuff. But he has been seeding this world that he's been building, this community for years. So when Oblay takes off, as I know Oblay is destined to, and everyone wants to use all these other words, nope, over time, not overnight. But Oblay is one of them. Oblay got it. It's just a matter of time. So I wanted to show Oblay Reed's project, and as I said, they're still amplifying this. So I think that's the cool part. You know, he's still performing music from the project and from other releases, live performances, press features, the media. So when we're talking about how to amplify beyond 30 days, this is how you do it. Every artist is going to be in a different stage. All of this is strategy. None of this is happening overnight. Oblay knew he was going to New York. I know he touched down, I believe, in Chicago. All of this stuff was lined up. So as we see more of the stuff he's doing, like from these different trips and more of the press that goes live and these media platforms, this is all part of the rollout amplification strategy. Okay. So Oblay is just an example of one that I wanted to use. Obviously, keeping the momentum going, headlining his own shows and throwing his own stuff, has his own merch, all that good stuff. So when we're thinking about an example of how an artist is doing really well, bridging the gap from digital to IRL, and also how is he facilitating building community on the ground, also with other artists, other creators. And then there was another point I wanted to make about Oplay, but the second example I want to show you is from one of our clients. Let me see if I can pull it up. Mark. So we're gonna pull him up next, but a little context about Mark Evich. We started working with Mark, I wanna say 2023 throughout 2024. And we got the opportunity to work with Mark on really, I say, organic social media strategy. So I got to work with him on developing his core social strategy, um, and bringing that to life. So we weren't necessarily in a release kind of mode for Mark just yet, but we knew that that was going to be coming next. So for him, for Mark, what we wanted to do was, one, help him hone in on his essence as an artist, right? So we went back to, I talked about the brand strategy and that foundation. We started there, all those questions. Then we mapped out, okay, audience targeting. Who is the audience that you're most likely to connect with, resonate? Mark is freaking phenomenal. He's a true creative. He's a producer. He's a phenomenal R&B, goes into kind of like that neo soul route. Like, he is so unique in himself. He is an immigrant that's now based in LA. He is really truly showcasing, building in, in America, and bringing his vision to life. So we focus with Mark on all things organic strategy first. And one of the things that I wanted to point out with him is, I was like, we worked with him throughout all of this stuff, which is so cool to see. It's so cool to see how Mark has continued to take the strategy that we developed in 2023, seed it throughout 2024, and how, right, there is no overnight, there is over time. And how he has built the momentum using the strategy. We tested different content series. We tested new ideas. Same thing with Mark. It was about, hey, we need to amplify different sorts of creative. So we started a series that was all around different songs that impacted him. And he did a whole cover series that really just got him in the start of finding more potential music enthusiasts who are also fans of these other artists. Then we moved into like, okay, seeding things like new branded photos. So we did a whole lot of that. So you'll start to see that throughout his feed. So these are just some of the different creative, organic creative that we brought to life well before he started to roll out the new like visual content that was going to start to come out. So I love using Mark as an example of someone like a client who really took that strategy, continued to interplay it. We had things like, hey, your live performances, like, let's make sure those are documented. So this is a recap video from one of his live performances of the new single as example. So when we're thinking about all these ways of how artists can amplify those releases, document what you're already doing. If you have a show that you're going to, that's happening, or hey, I know I'm dropping my single or EP, and then I know I got 2 or 3 shows lined up. As your strategist or as your manager, obviously, we're going to make sure, okay, we need to make sure these moments are captured, because we also know that you're going to be performing your new, updated, revised set list, right? So these are just some examples a couple examples I wanted to show you. Here's a couple from music visualizers that he brought to life for the release. As you can see with these ones, they aren't high budget. They are not the most expensive visuals to film. We always go back on the agency side. We're very strategic. We break down the themes, the mood. What do you want the fans to experience? Where can we see this track being played? How can we strategically, cost effectively bring that to life, whether we're shooting indoors, whether we're using something outdoor in the landscape? I'm a film photographer. Like I'm a film girl at heart. So ain't nothing for me to put together some shot lists, some treatment. Like, look, come to the UNE side if you need help with that. Um, but when it comes to music visualizers, I literally can listen to a track and craft out a whole shot list of here's where you should probably, like, I would talk to the artist, get more in the backstory, right? But you can strategically do this in a way that preserves a lot of your budget, okay? And use them iPhones, okay? So I wanted to show y'all Mark. Mark is doing phenomenal in 2025. See, y'all can see on his feed, he's still creating the music visualizers. He's amplifying live performances. He's securing more live performances. So freaking proud of him. A client for life, for show. So I just wanted to show y'all a couple of examples to wrap this up. But as I said, y'all, like there's a lot of magic that's brewing on the UNE side, a lot of gems I yapped about today. A lot of people, okay, have also been asking about more live streams. I've had so much fun this month that I think we got to continue the magic. So who knows? You might just catch me yapping again more next month. But if you are not tuned in, tapped in to the Insiders community, join us. Join us. You can find us on the web, unearthlystudios.com, on all socials at Unearthly Studios. You can also opt into our newsletter, our Insiders newsletter. Put the QR code right up. Okay, scan that, opt in there. That's where we're going to be sharing the latest insiders news, client wins, exclusive offers, freebies, timely opportunities for artists, creators, brands, etc. That all goes in our newsletter. I am always also taking topic suggestions, questions. If there's a topic that you want to know more about, learn about, curious about, or maybe don't know about, okay, send us a DM. You can find me on my personals at all that jazz XX underscore, or just hit us up on the agency side, and our team will definitely get back to you as soon as possible and as soon as we can. But kind of just to wrap up everything we talked about, I have been alluding to some freebies for our insiders community. So you made it to the end. Okay, opt in to our insiders newsletter. QR code is on the screen, and or our IG broadcast channel. That is where we share our digital product freebies only. So you do got to tap in. You got to be an insider. We will be sharing a music release timeline template. I talked about that kind of 4-month timeline. This is going to be something that you guys can use to reference for your next music release, and then kind of a promotional checklist when we go through every single music release, especially speaking for myself as a manager, I have a checklist. I sure do. So we're going to be sharing a similar version with y'all very soon. So that way, as you gear up for your next release, you got a plan and you got a checklist. Okay. Because we love to give y'all homework over here. So if you are ready, though, to stop guessing, to start strategizing, on the agency side, we have a couple different services offerings where we really get to the nitty and gritty of all things social and creative strategy. We have our essentials campaign package. That's the one that Mark was in for quite a while, where we provide that complete roadmap, creative support, so helping you to optimize. Hey, here's some creative ideas that can really hold you over for the next month, and strategic guidance beyond just your release. So this could work for, hey, you're in between releases, but you want to have a strong strategy and plan of attack. Or it could be like, hey, Jazz, I want to work with y'all. I know I'm going to be dropping this EP during our time. How can we build the roadmap to success around that? So links are on the screen so you can check us out, learn more about us, schedule your 15-minute complimentary discovery call, yap it up with our team so we can see how we can best help support you, especially as we enter 2026, because that means more music. But seriously, let's make your next music releases some of your biggest, most impactful, and some of your best. Reminder, follow us for more creative, for more live streams, for more content. We're coming back live super soon. If you have not opted in with us on YouTube, I would recommend doing it there so you don't miss the notifications. And if for some reason you miss a live, you'll be notified. Tag an artist friend who needs to see this, okay? If you're catching a clip, if you're on IG, send this to them because they need these gems. And also, please let us know your favorite tip, gem, insight. DM us. We are always so happy to get your thoughts and your feedback. As I said, I had so much fun yapping with everyone today. I did go over my hour, but y'all had to get all this good knowledge. And we'll definitely be back in the month of November for more insider masterclasses. And we're coming back with our conversation series, the next episode in Industry Trailblazer Chats. We took a little hiatus to roll out this series for y'all, but we got a couple more trailblazers we're going to amplify before the end of 2025. And then we're coming back strong, top of 2026. But on that note, I think I yapped enough today. I love y'all. Once again, thank you for everyone who joined us live today. For everyone catching the replay, we appreciate you. Drop your thoughts, feedback, all of those good stuff. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.